Hello, we are talking about quantum computing and the emerging threat to cryptography by Sarah Nawab, Danielle Nawab, and Sophia Tran. Handing it off to Sophia.
So, what is quantum computing? In short, it is an approach to computation that leverages the principles of quantum mechanics in order to perform calculations more efficiently than regular computers. There are four key principles of quantum computing, and they are as follow: superposition, entanglement, quantum gates, and quantum parallelism. Superposition is the ability of quantum bits, otherwise known as qubits, to exist in multiple states at the same time. For example, existing as 0, 1, or both all at once, which allows for parallel processing of information. Classical bits, on the other hand, are only able to exist in a state of 0 or 1. Entanglement is the state of direct relation between one qubit to another. This allows for faster computation and transferring of information. Quantum gates are what's used to perform quantum computations. Through quantum operations, they manipulate the state of the qubits, and this is similar to classical logic gates. The only difference is they operate on quantum bits. And lastly, quantum parallelism is the performing of numerous simultaneous calculations, which is due to superposition. Now, how does it relate to cryptography? Well, cryptography is the practice of securing communications, information, and authentication through encryption and decryption practices. With that being said, financial institutions, governments, and businesses that are reliant on encryption as a means of data security are at risk of having their sensitive data breached by quantum computing. Large quantum computers can break the security of most public key cryptography, aka asymmetric cryptography, which we'll discuss more in depth further into the presentation. Cryptography is important to the functions of everyday society and protects both public and private sector data. These quantum threats pose very real consequences for many industries and for many individuals if the proper steps are not taken towards the mitigation of such hefty ramifications.
Now we'll be discussing the current state of cryptography. So the overview of traditional cryptography involves both symmetric and asymmetric cryptography. Symmetric involves a single key for both encryption and decryption, and examples of such would be AES, so Advanced Encryption Standard, and DES, Data Encryption Standard. And some cases where this has been used would be encrypting data at rest, secure file storage, and internal system encryption. So asymmetric cryptography is related to utilizing a pair of keys, such as a public key for encryption and a private key for decryption. And examples of this would be RSA and ECC. And the use cases of these would be secure communication over the internet, digital signatures, and SSL/TLS for secure web browsing. Now, the importance in securing data and communication involves wanting to have confidentiality, integrity, authentication, and non-repudiation, such as like with which prevents parties from denying their actions, such as through digital signatures. And examples of cryptographic protocols we use today would be SSL or TLS, which is Secure Sockets Layer, or Transport Layer Security, which protects data transmitted over the internet. HTTPS, which encrypts web traffic, provides a secure browsing experience. PGP or GPG, which is used for securing email and files through encryption, and VPN protocols, of course, which is used for encrypting data for secure communication over entrusted networks or untrusted networks. Now we'll be discussing the vulnerabilities that quantum computing can attack. Quantum computing its threat to cryptography is calculated speed. It's utilizing Shor algorithms, for example. It's a game changer and can break widely used cryptographic protocols such as RSA, ECC, and Diffie-Hellman, as discussed in the previous slide. And its impact on traditional cryptography would be that it relies heavily on computational difficulty of certain mathematical problems. And quantum computers, with their advanced computational capabilities, can solve these problems more quickly, rendering traditional cryptographic methods vulnerable. Now, implication of public key cryptographies would be the public key systems are used for secure key exchange and digital signatures, and quantum computers use Shor algorithm to decrypt data encrypted with these systems, potentially exposing confidential information and undermining digital security and trust systems. So the urgency for quantum resistance cryptography is definitely present. With the advent of quantum computing, there's an urgent need for new cryptographic systems that are resistant to quantum attacks. And this often is referred to as post-quantum cryptography. Now we will discuss about a case study referencing the WannaCry ransomware attack of 2017, where a global cyber attack using ransomware was used, and it targeted computers running the Microsoft Windows operating system. It infected over 230,000 computers in over 150 countries. And the method of attack was to exploit a vulnerability in Windows, specifically in the SMB protocol. And the vulnerability was patched by Microsoft before the attack, but many systems were not updated. So it's not the fault of Microsoft. Significant impacts of this would be major disruptions in various sectors, including healthcare, like UK's NHS, for example, logistics and manufacturing. The NHS faced cancellations of over 20,000 appointments, operations, and diverted emergency cases, and an estimated global financial loss is of over 4 billion. So the key takeaway from this case would be that WannaCry spread was preventable. Patch management was a critical failure. And this highlights the risk of outdated systems and the importance of regular updates in cyber hygiene. And the relevance to quantum computing threat is that this illustrates the magnitude of disruption when a single vulnerability is exploited, which underlines the need for advanced quantum resistance cryptographic solutions to stay ahead of evolving technological threats.
There are many sectors that are vulnerable to these quantum attacks. First is the financial sector. Banking and online transactions can be exploited through these quantum attacks that could decrypt the financial data, enabling unauthorized access to these financial accounts and disturbing transactions. The stock market's used encrypted communications between traders and financial institutions that can be interrupted, leading to market manipulation or even insider trading. The national security as a whole is also compromised with quantum computing being used for cryptography. Many government communications are encrypted, and with this quantum cryptography can decrypt it, leading to intelligence spilling out to foreign countries. And as far as our infrastructure is concerned, quantum-enabled hacking could also disrupt critical infrastructure such as energy grids, power systems, causing various national emergencies. Even on a personal level, you are vulnerable. As far as internet privacy is concerned, your personal communications can be released, any of your messages, and even could lead to identity theft with all your information just being out there, and this could lead to fraud as well. Some vulnerable examples of vulnerable systems include the public key infrastructure, used for secure email, web browsing, and digital signatures, as well as secure socket layers or transport layer security, foundational security protocols for the internet, and blockchain and cryptocurrencies. They rely heavily on cryptographic principles for security and transaction verification. So this quantum threat highlights the urgent need for quantum-resistant algorithms and systems to secure our digital infrastructure against these future quantum-enabled attacks.
The race for quantum resilience. Organizations and countries worldwide are investing in developing quantum-resistant or post-quantum cryptography, which is PQC. PQC aims to develop cryptographic systems immune to quantum computing threats, and this is the global efforts to reach quantum-resistant cryptography. Some key players in quantum computing would be the US, of course, leading in quantum research with the government, NSA, NIST, and private sector initiatives such as Google and IBM. And second key player would be China, with significant investments in quantum research and development aiming for quantum supremacy. The European Union, funding and researching initiatives like the Quantum Flagship Program, focusing on advancing quantum technologies. And some notable achievements would be NIST's post-quantum cryptography standardization project, which aims to establish new standards for quantum-resistant cryptographic algorithms. IBM and Google working on quantum computing and security, including developing PQC solutions. And Quantum Safe Canada would be a coalition focusing on advancing quantum-safe digital infrastructure. Now on to emerging quantum-safe algorithms. So exploring of new cryptographic solutions that are resistant to quantum computing attacks is a long journey that most governments are trying to look into, but examples include lattice-based cryptography, hash-based signatures, and multivariate polynomial cryptography, which we will get into later on in the presentation. The importance of crypto agility would be organizations should prepare for a seamless transition to quantum-safe cryptography, with an emphasis on the ability to adapt and upgrade cryptographic methods as new threats and solutions emerge. Now, it is time to think about the call to action. And it is crucial for governments, industries, and academia to collaborate in preparing for the quantum future. Investing in research, developing in quantum-safe protocols, and raising awareness for quantum threats are key steps to achieve this.
Expanding on the transition to quantum-safe cryptography. Based on research and recent global cyber events, for example, the WannaCry case study mentioned previously, the current state of cryptography is at risk from quantum computing attacks. Therefore, in order to protect confidential data, there must be solutions or methods implemented to evolve the field of cryptography to be more resilient, if not immune to quantum hacks. Thankfully, there are steps available, which means that previously established cryptographic frameworks must be able to adapt to these new methods efficiently and effectively. This ability to transition from using one algorithm to another is what Sarah mentioned earlier as cryptographic agility. And as the risk of quantum computing attacks rise, the greater the demand for this crypto agility appears. This transition to a quote-unquote safer method of cryptography is denoted as the migration to post-quantum cryptography. This migration is essentially just a push towards using more quantum-resistant algorithms. More specifically, the current algorithms incorporate cryptographic hash functions, which are markedly less complex and easier to penetrate versus their lattice-based cryptographic counterpart.
So, as far as coming up with an embedded endurance strategy in the quantum context, it's important to understand the quantum threat. Quantum computing poses a unique challenge to cryptography due to its ability to solve complex problems much faster than its classical computer counterparts. Some key threats are the ability of quantum computers to break potentially widely used cryptographic protocols, such as RSA or ECC, um, which is done much faster than classical computers would ever be able to do. And some embedded endurance strategy is to adapt. This strategy involves integrating resilience and preventative measures into the very fabric of cybersecurity systems. In a quantum context, this means developing systems that are inherently more resistant to quantum computing threats. Some preventative measures that can be taken include proactively transitioning to quantum resistant algorithms and implementing crypto agility, as Sophia mentioned earlier. Some early adoption of post quantum cryptography standards developed by organizations such as NIST is also would also help in preventing. It's important to build resilience, continuously assessing and updating the threat model to consider the evolving capabilities of quantum computing, ensuring systems can maintain operational integrity and quickly recover in the event of a quantum-based breach. Developing layered security protocols that don't rely solely on cryptography for protection is also essential. Some strategic implementation can include regularly updating and testing cyber incident response plans with quantum threats in mind. Cross-disciplinary collaboration between cryptographer, quantum scientists, and cybersecurity experts is crucial to stay ahead in these quantum advancements. It's also important to encourage a culture of security awareness, recognizing the emerging quantum threats to this landscape. Um, as far as long-term perspectives, it's important to recognize that quantum computing is a rapidly evolving field, and it's important to stay informed about these latest developments. It's crucial that you also invest in quantum safe research and development to ensure long-term organizational cybersecurity.
Thank you.
Here are some of the references that we used.